I'm going to tell you about something that will confuse you because it's confusing. And don't worry, you won't be the only one who's confused. It's called Wheeler's Delayed Choice Quantum Eraser, and it started out as a thought experiment, but it has actually been carried out for real, and the results are confusing, like I said. It's an experiment about light. So light travels as both a wave and a particle. If you set up an experiment to detect it as a particle, it shows up as a particle. If you choose to detect it as a wave, it shows up as a wave. What John Wheeler wondered was this: what if you could set up an experiment to detect light as a particle in the beginning, and they later switch to detect it as a wave? What would happen? Would it switch too? And what would that mean? Well, in 1999, a team at the University of Maryland figured out a way to conduct the experiment. And the setup is pretty technical, involving fancy stuff like beam splitters and nonlinear optical crystals. But the short version is that the light gets split between two possible paths. If it travels as a particle, it goes down one path or the other. And if it travels as a wave, then it goes down both paths at once. And what they found is kind of horrifying. The light, which at the beginning of the experiment traveled down only one of the paths, suddenly looked like it had traveled down both if they switched to detecting it as a wave at the end, even though the decision to detect it as a wave was made after the light should already have been traveling as a particle. It was as if the light was saying, what? I always went down both paths. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here. Like the scientists were being gaslit by light. Anyway, this result means that either light knows in advance how we are going to detect it and travels accordingly, or else it can send some kind of message back to its own past to tell it how to have acted once we decide how we're going to look at it. Neither of those should feel good to anyone who wants to believe in little things like causality or a universe that exists even when we don't happen to be looking at it. I warned you, it would be confusing. And here's the worst part. I'm not really talking about experiments with light here. I'm talking about us, you and me. And I have been this whole time.